It is a widely held belief that police are meant to protect. In 2015, protests erupted across the country after police wrongfully killed Michael Brown in Ferguson and Eric Garner in New York City. These demonstrations led to the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. One would think that after years of protest, the American police force would have adapted their practices to promote values of racial awareness and egalitarianism. However, recent tragic events such as the death of African Americans like George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor at the hands of the police officers have once again thrust the spotlight back onto police methods of violence and brutality. We must ask the question, are our police just arbiters of safety and law, or are they criminals of permission who contribute to racial and social fears in our country? In our analysis, we decided to focus on this very question by analyzing data regarding police killings in tandem with factors such as race and geography.
We found out that Black people are killed at a much higher rate than all other people in every single state. Interestingly, the disparity between the rate at which Black citizens were killed compared to all other citizens was highest in strongly Republican states like Alaska, Utah, and Oklahoma. We also discovered that the police homicide rate had no correlation at all with the crime rate in the city. This was intriguing, as you would expect to see more police killings in areas with higher violent crime rates. This suggests that cops are more violent in areas where such violent methods aren't even truly warranted. We decided to explore the racial composition of police killings per million people in big cities. We found that Black people were killed 2 times more than Latino and 3 times more than white people. They were 1.13 times more likely to be killed than Latino and also 1.3 times more likely than white people when they were unarmed. This led us to the conclusion that Black people were most likely to be killed by police. This may reflect a racial bias inherent within police forces around the country, but it may also be indicative of a bias broadly inherent in our society. Finally, we discovered that 98% of police officers who have committed murder were not charged after the killing.
There is no excuse for unjust police violence and brutality. Cops are given the badge in order to serve and protect, not harm innocent civilians. Even further, given that cops are in a position of power, they are given free rein to act on their implicit biases, and the consequences of such freedom can sometimes be grave. Black Lives Matter activists claim that African Americans are disproportionately killed and victimized by the police. We find these claims to be in agreement with the findings of our study. This obviously doesn't cover the whole story. In the future, it would be prudent for us to examine the intricacies of each case, whether or not the victim was compliant with the authorities, and whether violent force was even warranted. In all, one thing is clear. Police violence and racial profiling needs to stop. Our society needs to work together to confront systemic racial biases in the police force and move towards building a better and safer America for all.